Alright everyone, the time has come for me to review the original Star Wars trilogy, and I'm gonna start off with this. Greedo was played by a woman. Yeah. Star Wars. So Star Wars came out back in 1977 and it was arguably the biggest movie of its generation. In fact, it was so big that anything I can say about this movie at this point you've probably already heard, including the spoilers, which is why there are most likely going to be spoilers in this video. So if you have not seen the original Star Wars by now, what? So to start this sci-fi epic off, we have Luke Skywalker, arguably the most relatable protagonist ever in movies. Raised on the desert planet Tatooine by his aunt and uncle, he wants more out of his life because his life is just nothing at this point. There are big bad things going on out there in the universe and Luke Skywalker wants to do something about it. If I'm gonna make an analogy, Luke Skywalker is like Bilbo Baggins. He spent his whole life living in a hole and now he's going on a big adventure. So one day he's living his life and his family gets these two droids, C-3PO and R2-D2, and within R2-D2 is this distress signal from a Princess Leia. You know, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And they're not really sure what to do about this until Ben Kenobi comes along. And if Luke Skywalker is Bilbo Baggins, then Ben Kenobi is Gandalf. He's a wise old wizard, he's seen some shit in his day and now he's just kind of wandering the world. And he's the one who introduces Luke and us, the audience, to the world of the Jedi and the Force. And when Ben Kenobi's talking about the Force, I love that piece of dialogue. You know how the Force is this big energy field that is made up of all living things that surrounds us and penetrates us and binds the galaxy together, makes it feel like it is actually a real thing that exists. That's awesome. So basically, Luke, Ben, and the two droids have to go save this princess, who is being held by the Galactic Empire in the Death Star. This is where the bad guys come in, and boy do we have a bad guy for you. You know him, you love him, Darth Vader. Arguably the most popular movie villain of all time, and especially my favorite movie villain of all time. When he first shows up on screen, you know he's a force to be reckoned with. Not only is that the coolest looking mask, I think, ever, but he's powerful with the dark side of the Force. He can choke people with his mind. There's actually a pretty funny scene where he's meeting with these guys in the Empire. There's this one guy in the council who's really doubting Darth Vader. He's like, oh yeah, your sad ways have given us no clairvoyance as to where this rebel base is. Vader starts choking him like this. He's like, I find your lack of faith disturbing. That's actually a really funny line. Anyways, back on Tatooine, the crew's in the Mos Eisley Cantina and they meet Han Solo. Han Solo is pretty much everyone's favorite Star Wars character, at least a lot of people's, and the guy's a complete badass. One of the first scenes you see him in, the guy's a smuggler, so he's talking with this other bounty hunter, Greedo. They're sitting at this table, Greedo's like, yeah, Jabba's through with you, I've been waiting for this for a long time. That's like, I'm gonna kill you now? Han Solo's like, yeah, I'll bet you have. He shoots Greedo right in the dick. What a classic scene. And so Luke, Ben, C-3PO, R2-D2, Han Solo, and his co-pilot Chewbacca take off in their ship, the Millennium Falcon, to go to the Death Star to rescue the princess. Now the cool thing that happens here is that you get a fight scene between Ben Kenobi and Darth Vader, who used to know each other actually. You learn that Darth Vader actually used to be a pupil of Ben Kenobi back in the day. They probably haven't seen each other in decades. So after Luke and Han have rescued the princess, they're going back to the ship. Luke sees Ben and Darth Vader fighting, and Ben looks over. He sees Luke, and he knows that Luke is the one that is going to carry this story through to the end. So he gives up the fight and Darth Vader kills him right then and there in front of Luke and the gang. And with that, they are out of there. Again, making a Tolkien analogy, how Gandalf kind of sacrificed himself at the Balrog, Ben Kenobi did the same thing here. He sacrificed himself to Darth Vader. The crew escapes without Ben Kenobi. They go to the planet Yavin. Their big plan is they have the blueprints to the Death Star. They got the plans. That's the reason Princess Leia was captured in the first place. So with these blueprints, they find the one weakness that this Death Star has, and they're going to launch an assault, and they are going to blow the shit up. Of course, Han Solo takes off before they even start, because he's like, yeah, I'd rather live through this shit, so I'm off, see ya. So Luke Skywalker is pretty much all on his own on this one. So now we got, like, the last 20 minutes of the film. They're all in their X-Wings, they're on the Death Star, they're taking out TIE fighters and shit, and all these X-Wings and Y-Wings start getting picked off to the point where it's just Luke by himself. He's gone over there with a fleet of like 20 X-Wings, but they're no match for the Empire and Darth Vader's TIE fighter. Gets to the point where Luke is going down the trench, he's on his way to blowing this shit up. Darth Vader's chasing after him, and it seems like he's toast, but all of a sudden, yahoo! Han Solo comes back, he gets rid of Darth Vader for him. Voice of Ben Kenobi starts talking in Luke's head. He's like, okay, turn off your computers. I'll tell you when to launch the rockets. And so he does, and he launches the rockets, and they go down the porthole, and the Death Star explodes. Bye-bye, Grand Moff Tarkin. And so for now, everything is right in the universe. Every time I watch this movie, I see all the hard work that was put into the making of this film. I mean, there were so many things that went wrong, but it pulled through, and it's one of the most popular films ever made. And I can't talk about Star Wars without talking about the score. This is, no, not arguably, this is the most popular movie theme ever. One of the many reasons that John Williams is a badass. That's all that really needs to be said about that. Star Wars is, in my opinion, the greatest sci-fi film ever made. One of my favorite movies of all time, one of a lot of people's favorite movies of all time. And the impact that this movie had on people back in the 70s, it was huge, I remember. No, I don't really remember. I wasn't there. I wish I was. So Star Wars, I know you've seen it, so what is your favorite scene? What's your favorite line? Whatever it is, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.